If you're into documentaries and you enjoy treasure hunts or ancient history, the Netflix documentary Unknown, The Lost Pyramid might be something that you want to explore. In the desert sands of Saqqara, the latest hotspot of Egyptian archaeology, two of the world's most famous Egyptologists seek to unearth ancient treasures. The legendary Dr. Zahi Hawass hunts for the long-lost pyramid of a forgotten Egyptian king, while his protege and rival, Dr. Mostafa Waziri, searches for an unlooted tomb in an ancient necropolis. Both teams race against the clock to see who will make the bigger discovery and make their mark in history. Unknown is actually a 4-part docuseries on Netflix with a new episode coming out each week, but the topics, they're all going to be different, covering things like the Cave of Bones, killer robots, and a cosmic time machine. Now, the way this first documentary movie is told almost has a dramatic thriller vibe to it. There's an urgency and intensity as we watch two different archaeological teams work their sites in hope of discovering something new. Well, I mean, come on, really, it's stupid old, but you know what I mean. Now, there's a digging season in Egypt, and it's not really like a hunting season, but more so I think it has to do with storms and haboobs that overtake the region and then make it both dangerous and nearly impossible to work. So with this, the teams, they're under a time constraint before they have to pull out, and this then creates excitement within the storytelling. I said there are two archaeologists that the documentary focuses on. One of them is really well known, Dr. Hawass. Now, he's an Egyptologist who you've probably seen on several documentaries. The other is Dr. Waziri, who studied under Dr. Hawass and now leads his own team. And they have this friendly rivalry, but it's not antagonistic or even mean-spirited. They just both contain the desire to uncover something first. Now, this was fascinating to watch all of the diggers and scientists at work. I mean, it starts off rather chunky with just this massive amount of workers digging down into the sand. And then when they begin to find signs of maybe a burial shaft or artifacts, that's when the more skilled scientists and the researchers come into play. Now, I was utterly hooked as I was watching this. It was so intriguing to watch these people unearth artifacts that haven't seen the light of day for thousands of years. And it's also wildly impressive at how many of the pieces are totally intact. I mean, they're very fragile, but they're still whole. And there's some godlike protector carvings and statues that one team uncovers. And the gold leaf, I mean, it's actually still on the items. But then you watch it flake and almost blow away with somebody's breath. And even at that point, I began to hold my breath like it was going to have some sort of effect on the artifact. Now, it's impressive to watch the work being done, and the camera gives us amazing access. The camera person is down in the burial chambers with the scientists and the archaeologists, chronicling the discoveries. And we get to be right there with them. I mean, the footage, it showcases tombs, sarcophagi, mummies, and then all kinds of artwork and statues. Now, there's a real sense of both claustrophobia and also, though, excitement. I mean, when new discoveries are made, you can just feel the electricity in the air as everybody on that dig waits with bated breath to just find out what the tomb may contain. And because we're watching the scientists in their element, they geek out on every little nuance. And I thought that translated very well through the screen. It's hard not to be invested in this, and it's a relatively short watch at only 84 minutes. Each discovery, whether it's large or small, it's met with huge anticipation and excitement. But I do wish the documentary could have been even longer. I mean, maybe following just a few years worth of digs, because I was left mildly unsatisfied. I mean, even though we get to see a bunch of discoveries. I think I was hoping, just like the archaeologists were, that something world-changing or groundbreaking would have been uncovered. Guess though that just means that there's going to be more content for future documentaries. While this documentary may showcase artifacts and work by archaeologists that feels very familiar to other documentaries, what's being uncovered in this episode is all brand new, allowing us to peer back in history for the first time on these particular areas. I mean, just as the scientists are. This is filmed really well. It's told in both an exciting and engaging manner, and it certainly isn't afraid to get us down deep into the shafts so that we can see the breathtaking new discoveries that have been hidden under the sand for millennia. The excitement and the energy of the archaeologists, it's infectious, which then makes for a fascinating and informative watch. So if you're into history or you just enjoy the thrill of a good treasure hunt, give this one a try. There's no sex or nudity or even violence, but there is a tiny bit of profanity. As a reminder, I don't give couch ratings to documentaries, but I highly recommend checking out Unknown, The Lost Pyramid on Netflix. I'm really excited to see the other entries in this series as each new one drops every week. So have you ever found anything cool while you've been out exploring? I mean, maybe it's just a rock, or maybe it's something like really valuable. I don't know. But if you have, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.